Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitangscha Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Bhachalam Pongo Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamahang Vande Sri Gurun Dinatarinam Nindantam Pulakot Korena Bikasam Nipa Prasunatstravim Prodrikritva Bujadvayam Hari Hari Etuchai Vidantam Muhu Nrityantam Drutamasru Nirjara Chai Sinchantam Urvitalam Gayantam Nija Parasadai Parivritam Sri Gaura Chandram Nama Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemavadivyachchavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. So, I'd like to read from Srila Guru Maharaj's quoting and explaining the Chaitanyastakam, one of the Chaitanyastakams of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu. And the interesting segue is that he's first speaking on the first verse of the Prema-dhama-deva-stotram, which we will see has some parallel to what is described by Srila Rupa Goswami. So, the Prema-dhama-deva-stotram is Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam condensed into like 70 verses. And as Srila Gurudev pointed out, that at first Guru Maharaj, he composed like 5 slokas. So Guru thought maybe it'll be a panchakam. You know. Then it was 8. Then he thought, oh, then it'll be an astakam. Then it was 10, dasakam, 12, dwadasakam. But he kept adding more and more. And Gurudev would publish some of them in the Gaudiya Darshan, but time is going by, and Guru Maharaj keeps composing more and more until he is actually doing the entire Chaitanya Charitamritam in approximately 70 verses. And we know it's there toward the end, as we hear sometimes the author, the poet, reference themselves. He references himself as Ramananda Das, when his given name was Ramendra Chandra Bhattacharya. When he came to the lotus feet of Srila Saraswati Thakur and was initiated by him, he was given the name Ramendra Sundar. But as part of the seva of establishing the lotus footprints of Mahaprabhu in the different places of his so-called South Indian tour, Srila Guru Maharaj and other devotees of the Gaudiya Math, they established the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu on the banks of the Godavari, where the Ramananda-samvad has spoken, where Mahaprabhu's meeting with Ramananda Ray, who we hear is of Lalita Vishaka, is Vishaka. So there's Radharani, then Lalita Vishaka. So how preeminent is her position and occupying such an important position in Gaur Leela, that on the suggestion or insistence of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Mahaprabhu meets with Ramananda, and then after this wonderful talk where Guru Maharaj says his ontological method is extracted from there. He finds everything there. Mahaprabhu is telling Ramananda, retire from this government service and join me in Puri. And there we will go on with these divine Krishna Katha, which he does. Prataparudra Maharaj arranges that. And so in his final days, we know particularly the last 12 years of his manifest pastimes, behind closed doors in the Gangbir, the room that Mahaprabhu lives in, the Banhi Garba, as will be given in Prema-dhama-deva-stotram, which Srila Gurudev interprets as the firebed of separation. In that room, in the company of Sri Damodar and Ramananda, Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is plunging the depths of Radha Bhav 24 hours a day for the last 12 years of his manifest pastimes. But, so before Guru Maharaj gets to the Chaitanyastakam, he's quoting the Prema-dhama-deva-stotram, his own work, the first verse, which says, Deva Siddha Mukta Jukta Bhakta Vrinda Banditam Pāpa-tāpa Dāva-daha Dagda Duka Kanditam Krishna Nama Siddhu Dama Danya Dāna-sāgaram Prema-dhama-deva-meva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. And we should say that Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj, when he gradually heard the verses of the Prema-dhama-deva-stotram, said, no one can compete with him. Meaning that the God brothers, sometimes they're Sanskritians or in connection with Sanskritians. They make a work that might be ontologically accurate, but not poetically pleasing. And but he said, but with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, you have like all this poetic beauty and the highest ontological substance. And when he means by poetic beauty, when you see the repetition, alliteration, and assonance, tapa, dava, daha, dagda, duka, kanditam, da, 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 da. Right? And then, Siddhu Dama Danya Dāna-sāgaram Prema-dhama-deva-meva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. Devas, the gods, the demigods. So he's giving all these different groups who worship Mahaprabhu. Siddhas means the mystics who are masters of subtle powers. Mukta, the liberated salvationists. Jukta, the yogis who want union with Paramatma or who want the darshan, touch or sight of Paramatma, the inner voice of the supersoul. Bhakta, the devotees, who is praised and worshipped by all of these sections, Vanditam, admired and praised by all these different sections of higher personalities, Vanditam. So, and we should mention that if you see here, it's saying the yogis who want darshan of the Paramatma. So we hear in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Vedanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajganam advayam. Advaya again. There's only one thing to be known. Just like the Upanishads say, Yasmin vigyate sarvam eva vigyatam bhavati. Try to know that one thing upon knowing which everything becomes known. But there, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan. 3 phases of the infinite. So, all accommodating Brahma, greater than the greatest, Anoraniyan Mahato Mahayan. Then smaller than the smallness, all permeating Paramatma. So Paramatma is not the target of the bhaktas. Right? That's the target of the yogis. Right? What do we hear in the Brahma Samgita? In that South Indian tour, Mahaprabhu so-called discovers Brahma Samgita. What does it say there? Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santak sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti. That for the premic bhaktas, those who have Krishna prem, they're not trying to achieve Paramatma Gyan or Paramatma Darshan. Right? Paramatma has no consort. Bhagavan proper begins with Lakshmi Narayan, Sita Ram, Rukmini, Dwarkanath, Mathuresh, Brajendranandan Krishna, Vrindavan Hoite Shrestha Govardhana Shoila, Gandharvika Giridhari Jata Kridda Koila, Srila Saraswati Thakur taking it further. And then higher than pastimes in Vrindavan, Govardhan, higher than that, Radha Kunda, and there parsed further, the banks of Radha Kunda and the divine waters of Radha Kunda. So, who the premic bhaktas, those who have Krishna prem, it says, Hridayeshu vilokayanti. What are they seeing through their eyes that are tinged with the salve of Krishna prem? Young Shyamasundar Krishna Swarup, the inconceivable Swarup of Shyamasundar Krishna. So, but here, that's Shyamasundar Krishna, Krishna Barnam Trisha Krishnam Shangopangashtra Parshadam. Normally he's Shyamasundar, but he's Krishna, but Krishna has become akrishna, meaning instead of, he's the opposite of that. And this, what does it mean? Golden. So Shyamasundar has become Gauranga Sundar. That's big news for all Krishna-loving people. Like, did you hear what happened to Krishna? No, what? He's been converted into a devotee of Krishna. No. Yes. And not just any devotee. He's showing Bhakta Bhav, but gradually that Bhakta Bhav is, when it's fullest expression, Radha Bhava Duty Subalita, Nomi Krishna Swarupam. That Swarup of Krishna, Radha Bhava Duty, so enveloped by the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani. So then naturally, the devas, the siddhas, the muktas, the yogis, the devotees, they're all worshiping. He's admired and praised and prayed by all these different sections of higher personalities. Whoops. Pāpa-tāpa dāva-dāha dagda dukkha kanditam, by whom all the troubles that come out of these circumstances are quenched, finished. What are they? Pāp, sin. Pāpa-tāpa, the pain that is the outcome, the product of our sin. Dāva-dāha, dāva means dāvānala. In the forest, the conflagration in the forest, automatically some fire breaks out and the whole forest is burned to ashes. That is davada. Pop, from the general sin, the fire of suffering comes from our sins of the past years, past ages, lives, and that is quenched, extinguished. That fire is extinguished by whom? Who can do away with all the pains which come like a conflagration, rising from different births of previous lives. They are all finished, extinguished. Like where have we heard this before? Saṁsāra-dāvānala lila-loka tranaya karuna guna-gunatvam praptasya kalyana gunanavasya bande guru Sri Chaitanya. So you know, who is the source of all this auspiciousness that's being transmitted by Sri Guru? Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nritya Gita Baritra Madran Manasorasena romāñcha-kampāśru tarangabhadra bande guru Sri Chaitanya. And Krishna nama siddhu dhamma danya dāna-sāgaram. And who is the giver of the nectar of the holy divine name of Krishna? Suddha Dham. That means, which is the very abode of divine nectar. Danya dana, such a very notable gift. Danya dana, which makes us very fortunate. That sort of gift. Who is the ocean of such gift? dāna-sāgar. And then he says, the technical meaning of the word dāna-sāgar means a ceremony in which different types of gifts are offered, including even elephants. Various things are offered as gifts on some occasion. That is known as dāna-sāgar. He is the ocean of various divine gifts. Rama, Suddha Dhamma, Krishna Nama, Siddhu Dhamma. His gift is the abode of divine nectar, the very name of the Lord, Krishna. That is whose gift, Prema-dhama-deva-stotram sundaram. We praise in hymns, we offer our prayer to such Lord who is the abode of divine love. Prema-dhama-deva-stotram sundaram. We chant in praise of such God only, alone, who is Gaur Sundar, whose gift is such. That is the meaning. That's like verse number 1. So who can compose this? Then you hear Guru Maharaj's explanation. If you read a translation, with all due respect to the translator, you get something. But if you hear Guru Maharaj himself extracting from there, you get much more. And we should say as well that, so he's saying, and elsewhere, the infinite appearing as though finite. When he appears as finite, that's when he makes his nearest approach to the finite. Right? So the Aprakrita Leela of Krishna. But here, to bestow inconceivable, causeless mercy upon the finite, he's distributing himself to them, to us, in the form of his holy name. Right? So, when Mahaprabhu wants to indicate the primacy of the position of Srila Rupa Goswami to all the devotees. So all the major devotees are gathered in Puri. Ramananda, Swarup Damodar, Haridas Thakur, Sarvabhauma Acharya, all of them, they're there. And he wants to indicate the position of Srila Rupa Goswami. After all, it will become known as the Rupanuga Sampradaya, the followers of Sri Rupa. But Rupa Goswami is very shy and hesitating. Like Guru Maharaj would say, he's a back-pushing man. When he mentioned that at different times, always staying in the background. I found a picture whom was Srila Saraswati Thakur on tour in South India, and lo and behold, there was Guru Maharaj like in the back row. So I showed it to him, and that brought a smile to his face. He said, "Back pusher." So you can see even then, he's in the back row, not seeking a prominent position. And that is one of the hallmarks of pure devotion, is to always acknowledge, appreciate, and promote others. The opposite of pratishta, which means self-establishment, self-assertion. That is in Saraswati Thakur's rendering, the opposite of humility. He said humility has no aggression. So Mahaprabhu's calling Rupa to come forward, and because he had seen on his visit, we know in Puri, that at the Siddha Bakul, Haridas Thakur is staying there, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, because they cannot enter the temple for Jagannath Darshan due to, caste restrictions. Right? And they don't cross that. Guru Maharaj also made that point. Mahaprabhu, he didn't lead some kind of a political movement to try and undo what's going on. They respected that, they observed it. Right? Sanatan Goswami went out of his way to avoid the pathway of the pandas, thinking like, I'm so fallen, and they're the servants of Jagannath. Maybe one of them will brush against me on their way to seva, and they'll be in a contaminated position. That's what he's thinking. So, but Mahaprabhu gives them the Siddha Bakul from where they can see the chakra of Jagannath equal to darshan of Krishna. But we're told every day on his way to bathe in the ocean that he stops by to see them. Right? And later also his remnants are brought to them. And he finds the Priya Soyam Krishna shloka of Rupa Goswami explaining the Yat Kumara Hara song that he mysteriously sings at the Rath Yatra. Remember, Radha Bhava Duti Subala, he is enveloped by the heart of Srimati Radharani, but Chana Kalo, he is the chana-avatar, he's hidden. And I used to think, why all the hiding? It's not that he's trying to hide his position, he's hidden within, he's enveloped by the heart of Srimati Radharani. Right? So who is Krishna? Anta Krishna Bahiragauram Darshitangari Vaibhavam Kalota Sankirtana Jesma Sri Krishna Chaitanya Asrita. Jiva Goswami saying he internally is Krishna, but being enveloped by the heart of Radharani, then he is Gauram. So he's hidden in a delightful way. So Rupa Goswami, but not hidden to the devotees. This is mentioned by Kaviraj Goswami in the introductory section of the Chaitanya Charitamritam. It's very beautiful. We're saying, those who have no devotion, they won't appreciate this. They won't, in that sense, they won't be able to see you, to know you, to recognize you, to appreciate you. He's saying, but in the case of devotees, it's the inverse, that you cannot conceal yourself from them. You cannot hide yourself from them. So, just as when Ramananda, that Ramananda-samvad, we're told, at the beginning of their talk, when Mahaprabhu arrives there, it says, and he's sitting on the bank of the river, it appears like the sun is sitting on the banks of the Ganga dressed in saffron, like a sannyasi. So, in other places, they would say 10 million sons. To give you some, like one should be enough, but to give us some, we're always, by the grace of our Guru Varga, trying to conceive the inconceivable. But anyway, at the beginning of, that's how it begins, and Ramananda, Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Shudra Kene Noi, Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Se Guru Hoy. Mahaprabhu, he's the sannyasi, he should be instructing the householder Ramananda. But we always see so many inversions in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Consistently enough, thematically enough to underscore the point that it's about substance. It's the triumph of substance over form. Right? So the inversion is there. The householder, and in this context, for the sake of the slok and kind of Shudra. So sannyasi, highest position, Shudra, lowest position. Sannyasi, and Varna and Ashram, same thing. So he is giving instructions. So what is it? Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Shudra Kene Noi, Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Se Guru Hoy. If someone knows the science of Krishna, if they know Krishna Tattva, Se Guru Hoy, then Guru is detected there. As Guru Maharaj would say, the inspired side of the Vaishnava is Guru, as the absolute descending in relative circumstance to reciprocate the necessity, the inner heart's necessity of the aspiring servitor. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit saroja ase shrutekshita pato nanunata pungsang. Mentioned the other day, Advaita Acharya, his devotion being reciprocated. But what was his demand? Devotional demand, in a sense. Serving the situation, not a personal, how enlivening it will be for me. That was not his, a modus operandi. But he was saying, these people are suffering for want of this connection. Pāpa-tāpa, dāva-daha, dagda, dukkha, kanditam. So he's saying, if Gauranga will come down and distribute himself in the form of his holy name, how wonderful. That's what's being reciprocated with Advaita Acharya. And what we will find also in Chaitanya-astakam is where Napareham Nirvajra Samyudam, when Krishna is telling the Braja Gopis, and Bhagavad Gita, I will promise to reciprocate, and now you're going to make me break my promise. How great they are. Right? In other words, he's saying, we said, Advaita, with the tulsi leaf and the water, and Krishna saying, when I get such an offering as that, I have to give myself. But he said in the case of the Braja Gopis, what is it? The sort of devotion you have in your hearts? Let virtue be its own reward. Right? If I gave myself to you fully, it wouldn't be compensation for the type of love and affection you have. So Guru Maharaj will say, then what to do? It'll appear in maybe second, third sloka of Chaitanya-astakam. He'll come as their canvasser, descend in this world and say, how great they are, the Gopis. Gopi Prem, Gopi Bhava Rasamrita Dilahari Kalola Magno Mohur. And Jadi Gorna Hoita Tabiki Hoita Kamani Daritam Dehe Radhar Mahima Prema Rasasima Jagata Janata. Krishna will descend in the world and tell everyone about the greatness of Srimati Radharani and her love and her Krishna Prem. Mahabhav Swarupini Radha Thakurani, Mahabhav Chintamani Radha Thakurani. So I wanted to say, distributing himself in the form of his name, right? Like Gurudev, every time he gave an initiation, he never failed to mention, this is the transcendental sound vibration form of the Lord, right? Every time he might say a different thing, but that he never failed to say. This is the transcendental sound vibration form of the Lord. So Mahaprabhu, innocently, he's asking Rupa Goswami to come forward, because visiting that Siddha Bakul, he saw the Priya, but he saw some other things that he's working on, other slokas he got exposure to. So in one place he's saying, oh Rupa, because when you begin a work you should establish first who is your Ishta Devata, worshipable Lord. He's saying, Rupa, please come for him, don't be shy. Anarpita charim chirad kornavatirna kalo samarpayatam unatojvala rasam swabhakti sriyam hari purata sanduduti kadamba sandipita Sada Hridaya Kandares Puratu Va Sachinandana. He said, you are my Ishta Devata. And Mahaprabhu, all right, wait. Ati Stuti Kore Ninda, too much glorification is another type of ninda, blasphemy. What he's saying, after a long time, Krishna came, we like to say 5,000 years ago, approximately. Right. Once in a day of Brahma. How long is a day of Brahma? Sahasra Yuga Parjantam Ahoryad Brahmano Vidu. 1,000 yuga cycles. Satya Treta, Satya Dwarpa Treta Kali. Means 4,300,000 years times 1,000. 4,300,000,000 years. So think about every 4,300,000,000 years, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna descends in this world. And that time, so many avatars, so many incarnations. Right? But as Krishna will say, it's in Charitamritam, maybe quoting Jamunacharya and others, but saying, Krishna says, other avatars can give the Yuga Dharma. They can reveal what is the spiritual path for that age. Saying, but only I can give prem, Braja prem. Only I can do that. So once in a day of Brahma, that Krishna comes. And we're told there's 14 Manus in a day of Brahma, the 7th one, Vaivasvata, and there's 72 Dibya Yugas cycles in the 27th, at the 28th, right, 27, 28. That sort of precision, that's when Krishna comes. Right? But very beautifully, Rupa Goswami is saying, but after so long, that was a long time ago. In one sense, saying, but now I see, not only giving Krishna prem, but unatojvala, unata ujvala rasa. He's giving something that's never been given before. As when one devotee heard Guru Maharaj give perhaps one of his greatest talks of all time, and of course it was about Mahaprabhu, and he was left astonished. And he said, why did Mahaprabhu choose to give this to the lowest people? He was puzzled. And Guru Maharaj said, this is the very nature of Sri Chaitanya avatar, that if Rupa Goswami again, he says, Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema-dhama-deva-stotram Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtase Namah. Krishna Prema-dhama-deva-stotram, he's giving Krishna Prema. So, he's saying, Mahavaranyaya means the most magnanimous avatar, right? He's saying, so if he is the most magnanimous, then that would mean he would be giving the highest thing, of which there's nothing higher, to the lowest people, whom there's nothing lower. Right? No one lower. Right? So, for Krishna, what is that highest thing? Aparam, Rupa Goswami again, Chaitanyastakam, but his other one, he has three. Aparam kasyapi pranayi janabinda shukutuki rasostamam hritva madaram upabhoktam kamapiya rucham swama avre dutim iha tadyam sat chaitanya devaskritir atitaram na kripayatu. Serving, the billion, if not trillion, supremely qualified Braja Gopis, one stands out to the degree that her absence cancels all the others. Kutuki, that awakened the curiosity within him to experience her position. So they all have prem. Right? But Mahabhav Swarupini Radha Thakurani, Mahabhav is hers. That comes from the heart of Srimati Radharani. And ultimately, Krishna's consciousness is a celebration of the heart of Srimati Radharani. So not only Bhaktabhav, but Mahabhav, he wants to experience that. And that he realizes, this is the most wonderful thing ever, right? Which is manifest from the heart of Srimati Radharani. I want to bring people in connection with that. Unatojvala ujvala rasam, the highest type. So Rupa Goswami is saying, it's been a long time, but now he is giving something that's never been given before. Right? And if we factor in once in a day of Brahma, so, because Guru Maharaj will tell us, there are avatars of Mahaprabhu and other yugas. But this one, the Radha Baba Duti Subalita, enveloped in the heart and halo of Radharani, that Mahaprabhu follows Swayam Bhagavan Krishna's appearance, the overlapping of Dwapara and Treta Yuga, and the Kali Yuga follows then Avatarasar Gaura Avatar, Mahaprabhu, who is Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. So he's come, what is he doing? His Bahiranga Sangha Kore Nama Sankirtan, distributing himself, Krishna Nam, through Nam Sankirtan, Nam Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam, Pranamo Dukha Samanas, Tannamami Harim Param, the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, singing the glories of Nam Sankirtan. And he has that's his public service, and he has his private life. So, asking Rupa Goswami, identify your Istadevata, and he's saying, you are. That's what that's saying. Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratu, in the core, the deep core of your heart, Spuratu Va Sachinandana. May Sachinandan Gaurahari appear from deep within the core of your heart, illuminating everything, and Unatodra Larasam. Then Mahaprabhu later, in the presence of all those great devotees, saying, Rupa, tell everyone that shloka about the holy name of Krishna, upon hearing which everyone becomes happy and all their misery is finished. Just even as a question, how sweet is that? See, now Rupa Goswami will tell us something that will make us more than eternally happy and finish all the miseries of our lives. He can write such a verse. Right? And what is Rupa Goswami? It's from his play. Two devotees went sharing with each other. Guhya mukyati prichyati. Tunde tandavani ritim vitanute tundavali labdiye. Karna kroda kadambini gadayate karnar bhutebhyas priyam. No jan ne janita kiyad bhyamrite sarvendriyanam kritim. No. Anyway, so Krishneti varna dvayi, missed some words. Krishneti varna dvayi means the devotee say, I don't know how much nectar there are in the two syllables, Krishna. As we're told, Krish, attracting everyone to the central conception of the infinite. Krishnera Jitega Kela Sarvatam Naralila Naravapu Tahara Swarup Gopa Vesh Venukar Navakishore Natavar Naralila Hoyanarup. Like you see our deity, Govinda Sundar. Like the way he's standing there, Shama, the Tribanga, Shamam Tribanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham. From one's promise, like as if he has nothing to do. Like you only stand like that if you have no job. Because he has no job. And if you have no job like that, then what does he do for amusement? He plays the flute, right? But who apparently has no job and is just predisposed toward amusement and play, he's controlling everything with the sound of his flute. Everything. Right? Gurudev said in Italy, at that Montebaro place, arranged by Krishna Kanta Didi and Monendra Mahaprabhu, and he was thinking about this, and he said, how Krishna is controlling everything with his flute. And he said, like in the factory, like when they have all these different people are coming from different directions, and then he said, and it goes, doo, and then everyone knows where to go, and they hear this one sound, then everyone knows what their duties are, where they should go, everything, by hearing that one sound. He said, it's something like that. So when Krishna sounds that flute, then everyone knows what to do. Right? And we know it's sometimes causing distress to the Braja Gopis. Because they cannot resist the sweet sound of Krishna's flute. And Radharani called the Braja Gopis together for a meeting once and said, I know what is the cause of all of our troubles. And they're going, tell us, yes, please. And she goes, it's the flute. So we have to get the flute away from Krishna. If we can steal his flute, then we'll be all right. So Rupa Goswami in that verse, one devotee saying, I do not know how much nectar in those, Krishna. Oh, I said Krish. Everyone being drawn to the golden mean, the infinite center, the human-like, Yam Shyamasundar Guna Swarup. Right? And na means to nourish. So he's drawing everyone, and they're irresistibly being drawn in attraction to Krishna, offering themselves in service, nourishing everyone. Krishna nama siddhu dhamma dhanya dāna-sāgaram. Right? And Radharani, he's Rasaraj Mahabhav. We're told Ramananda said, when we started this talk, I saw you were a sannyasi, and now I'm becoming bewildered by what I say. What? And he said, now I see the Shyama Goparup, this Shyama cowherd boy, Krishna. And Mahaprabhu was found, no, you are that type of Mahabhagavata, wherever you cast your glance, you see Krishna. So I'm so fortunate to have your darshan, and when you see me, you're also seeing Krishna, because you see Krishna everywhere and everything. And Ramananda said, please do not tease me. I'm not only seeing the Shyama Goparup, but I see the golden form of a girl has enveloped him. What is that? And Rasaraj Mahabhav Duyakarup. I cannot conceal myself from your loving vision. That's what we told before. The non-devotees cannot see him. He cannot be known by finite means. Right? He can only reveal himself. It's not by argument, by assembling finite resources that you can verify the existence of Krishna or divinity. Only the infinite can make himself known to the finite. But we're told, in the case of the devotees, he cannot conceal himself from their loving eye. Ahang bhakta aparadino, yasvan tantra eva dvija, sadhu bir bhakta hridayo bhakta bhakta janapriya. Although it's declared in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Svarat, he's totally independent. You can tell by the Tribanga. He's totally independent. But here, ahang bhakta paradino hyasvan tantra eva. It's as if I lose my independence in the presence of devotion. He's a slave of his devotees. As they are, why? Because they're his slaves. They're just not, half-heartedly giving themselves to Krishna. The Guru Maharaj likes to translate das or dasi as slave. Servant has a different ring to it, like executive assistant. But slave, that's his favorite word. The word that makes the modern day, what do you call him? Humanists. Shudder. They can't imagine anything worse than that. While being slaves of their senses. But anyway, slave, because Krishna's devotees are wholly given over to Krishna. It's not self-annihilation, but self-oblivion, self-forgetfulness. So wholly given over to Krishna, then Krishna's wholly given over to them. Right? So, Rasaraj Mahabhav Duyakarup. Yes, now you say, I'm Rasaraj Krishna, enveloped by Mahabhav. And Guru Maharaj said, see how they mingle. With that, Ramananda fainted. And when he awoke, there was Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi before him again. So, Krishna, Tunde Tanda Karna Krodha Kadambini Gadayate Karnar Bhutevya Spriyam. That devotee says, Guru Maharaj says, Krishna Nama Siddhu Dhamma. Krishna Nam is the nectar dham. It's the abode of all nectarine substance in those two syllables. So the devotee says, I don't know. I can't estimate how much nectar is there. When I'm taking the name of Krishna. One tongue is insufficient to taste all the nectar. My heart aspires to have millions of tongues. And the sound is so sweet that 2 ears are insufficient. I want to have millions of ears that capture all that nectarine sound. And similarly, the form of Krishna, so beautiful, 2 eyes are insufficient to take in all of it. One wants millions of unblinking eyes to drink the nectarine beauty, Achintya Guna Swarup of Shyamasundar Krishna. And what is told there, again, in Charitamritam, you can only learn these things from the devotees. Why Rupa Nuga? Why Rupa Goswami? Look what Rupa Goswami tells us in one verse. You can only learn this from a devotee, and not only any devotee. Who are these devotees? They're all Gopis, the supreme devotees of Krishna, who've descended in Gaur Lila to play these different parts. But they're all Braja Gopis. They're all, and their leader is Srimati Radharani. So that flute, Rupa Goswami, because we'll think like, oh, the sweet sound of the flute, and we have some ideas about it. And what does Rupa Goswami say about the flute, Song of Krishna, a favorite shloka of Srila Gurudev from Antya-lila, Charitamritam, Rundanambu Rintas Chamatkati Param Kurbam Muhustumburum Dhyanadantarayan Sanandana Vishmapayam Vedasam Otsukya Balibir Balim Bogindra Magurnayam Bindamanda Gata Bitim Babito But Brahma Bangshi Dwani. This Rupa Goswami is telling us the effects of the sound of Krishna's flute. Saying that, the rain clouds stop raining. This what do you call it? Freeze frame. They're stunned. They're just stunned. Kurvun muhustumar. The tumburu, because that means rain and thunder, like some deep sound. Deep, very deep. Tumburu, who's the leader of the Gandharvas, they're arguably the greatest musicians in the universe. They know all the songs, all the ragas, all the melodies, everything. And he's saying, he's never heard this. He's astonished, utterly bewildered and astonished at the beauty of this song. Right, which Chakrabarti Thakur says in his commentary, that Krishna, when he plays the flute, can, whatever tune he's playing, still all notes are being sounded simultaneously. Still there's song. Dhyanadantarayan sanandana mukham, we're told the 4 Kumaras, nothing can break their meditation on the Lord. Ever. Right? Their dhyan. Right? And when they hear the sound of Krishna's flute, they can't concentrate. Suddenly they're puggle. Brahma, who's created everything, saying, I didn't create this. This most astonishing sound. Otsukir, and so he's describing also, it's the 8 layers of the universe. The sound of Krishna's flute is cracking the shell of the 8 layers of the universe. It's penetrating that, and then it starts circulating. So Brahma's hearing up in the higher planetary systems, the Kumaras, the Gandharvas, right? But then it keeps circulating. So now it's going down to the bottom, toward the bottom of the universe. And Bali Maharaj is regent. He is astonished. Never heard anything like it. And then we're told, Ananta, Bogendra Magunam, on Sheshananta's heads, all the planets are floating. Ananta Shesh, right? Balaram's expansion. When he hears the sound, it's intoxicating him. So his heads are going like this, and it looks like the planets are going to slip off. Who could write that and explain that? Bhugendra Magurnam, Bindam, Anda means the universe, penetrating all the shells, the layers of the shells of the universe, circulating like this, having these effects. But Brahma Bangshi Dwani, when Krishna sounds his flute. First inauguration, that he's an established position holder who commands respect of different sections of high personalities. Second, then the Guru is now explaining his own sloka. So in the first line, this is what I... Second, the negative side. He can extinguish the fire of all of our troubles. The fire. And the third, the positive gift. See, this is how Guru Maharaj divine thoughts. Third, the positive gift, the nectar which makes everyone fortunate, that divine name. And who is the abode of such love and sympathy to others? That Gaur Sundar alone we shall bow down, none else. Tomare bulia vidya pidai, pidita rasanamor. I am forgetful of you, so my tongue is influenced by ignorance, avidya, pidai, attacked by the disease of ignorance, the tongue. Krishna nama sudha, balo nahi lage, vishaya sukhate bora. But the nectarine name of you does not please me. It does not produce any hankering, earnestness, no taste for me. It is not tasteful to me, the divine name. Why should we hesitate to express these things? Mahaprabhu himself, who's echoing the sentiments in the heart of Srimati Radharani in the Shikshastakam, Nam Nam Akari Bahudha, Nidra Sarva Shaktis, Tatrarpitak Niyamatak Smarane Nakala, Etadrishi Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi, Durdevam Idrishamiha Janinana Raga. After what we just said, then we should be very excited about the holy name, saying, but oh, Durdevam, my misfortune. Sometimes my bad luck, my misfortune is I have no anurag, I have no taste for that holy name that was expressed so beautifully by Rupa Goswami. But the devotees, they say, only one tongue, one mouth, insufficient. Crores, millions of mouths are necessary to taste the name of Krishna. There are such devotees. Therein lies our happiness and hope. We shall never think that we are that. Guru Maharaj said, when you think that you're a devotee or a Vaishnava, he said, you're on the road to hell. But that we know that such devotees exist, and we're aspiring servants of their servants, etc. That's the proper position. And they deplore their own construction. They blame Vidata, that means Brahma, the creator. Only one mouth he has given to him who takes Krishna Nam. Millions of mouths and lips or tongues are necessary for him who will take Krishna Nam. So much taste for honey is there, but we are devoid of that. Why? avidya, agyan, misconception. We're not getting the proper conception, touch of the thing. It is so sweet, but to us, we do not feel so much sweetness there. It is covered with ignorance. The tasting sense is covered with clay, so no direct touch with the honey, so we can't taste. But those that have got their uncovered tongue, they can feel the taste, the sweetness of the name, Nam. And the eye, the figure, the mind, the qualities, the lila, that also, the heart and mind, so very sweet, so very loving, so very sweet. But our barren heart will not produce anything useful. Offshoots of the creeper of devotion, which will connect with Krishna and contact me with him. Bhakti Lata will go to Krishna and roll on his feet. And then comes the Chaitanya Astakam. Hare Krishna. That's the intro.